Hey everybody, my name is Marco. I'm a former pro opera singer and I love talking about music from an emotional perspective after a decade on the stage. I'm really excited because today we're listening to The Voice in My Heart from Violet Evergarden by Evan Call. Here we go. That's so lovely. First of all, 20 seconds in, again, what do we talk about? We talk about the fact that beginnings and endings are key and paramount to most pieces of music, especially because openings are vital. One of the cool things about this is how we start with the oboe. The oboe has a real bright quality to it, as you can hear right from the opening couple seconds here. But what's really interesting about this piece, and I think what lends itself to a piece about working through something or navigating a problem-solving sound, but it's a very bright, almost cheerful soundscape, is that we have so we have rhythm that's moving us, right? And the rhythm and melody are the key two components, and tone and tempo and all these a few other things. These are the things that are the building blocks of music. But so the way that we build with this oboe is really, really beautiful because it brings this natural, bright, warm sound because of its woodwind quality into the fray. And I think that sound especially is a sound of invitation and a sound of like, how do I handle this? Okay, there's like a thinking, but it's not like dire straits, you know what I mean? The harp is in here too, which is very feminine, and then as well we have this plucked quality, it's pizzicato it's called, where we're just plucking the strings there, and that also lends itself to a more softer, gentler, playful sound quality. It's quite cool. Really nice strings coming in with the flute there. Beautiful doubling in the piano, cello front and center. A nice dance here between the piano and the cello. What's really amazing here is we have a really interesting juxtaposition. First of all, what a surprise to have. And then when we have the response to that call, we have this big brass section that actually is really predominant in there. Now, they're equal to the strings, but they're just slightly more forward in the presentation. So the brass really emphasizes this idea of this not clash, but this dance between femininity with that really bright soundscape and with no real vibrato, almost childlike, but probably more. And I'm looking at a picture, so an adult woman mixed in with this brass, which is maybe her desire for, her work ethic, her desire for focus, her ability to get the task done in front of her, this sort of forward innate drive within the self. Obviously, I'm looking at a picture. She's at a typewriter. She has robot hands. She seems very studious, and the library books or the books behind her, it feels like almost a law office. There's a quality in this of confidence, of really knowing oneself and saying, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what's going on here. My job is to just be this and be resourceful and to help people out. There's a real like helping quality in that sound. Something that's absolutely delightful is that we've pretty much had the same melodic idea now for the last 1 minute and 23 seconds. It's also really interesting how a 2 minute and 20-second piece can be very, very, very dense. And by that I mean is that some pieces that are 2 minutes and 20 seconds go by in a blink of an eye. They're fast, they're fast, they're fast. They move, they move, they move. And then suddenly you're done. But in this particular case, I feel like we're really luxuriating on every note. And because of the way that we have this thickness in the orchestration, there is a real this like deep belly breathing almost, and it's really, really, really dense. It's quite satisfying. Nice to pull back with just the harp and whoa. Nice trumpet accents there. Yeah, and this is the crux of the piece, because we heard that at the beginning, but now it's more fleshed out, more dense, more instruments. We've gone on a little bit of a musical journey. And again, this is the last like 20 seconds of the piece. And so we're kind of bookmarking the beginning and the ending. We're closing the chapter, closing the book. And here we're going back to this idea of like, a little bit of peace. All right. It feels like a slice of lifey. It also just feels very like warm. It feels very inviting, feels very welcoming. And it's amazing how a soundscape like this can produce this feeling of like, all right, I know what my job is. You know what I mean? Back to that oboe. Like I said, bookmarking. And then we resolve. What a lovely way of resolving there. That's beautiful with just the piano chords plucking out. That's really nice, especially because we don't know when that ending's going to come. It's a little bit delayed. It really, really drags out that feeling of like, okay, we can breathe again. They're really beautiful. Really, 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 really beautiful. If you want to, on Patreon, I have been doing some watch-alongs of anime. Feel free to check that out. Feel free to like, subscribe. There's more on the channel. And thanks a ton, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.